Today I'm going to talk to you guys about a question that's come up that I think is really valuable. I haven't done a video on it before. I haven't really talked about it much in the past either. And that is how to grow crops, specialty crops for chefs. So I'm going to outline 5 things that I really think you should consider if you have a chef that comes to you and says, hey, can you grow this for me? Or can you grow that? These are things that you don't typically grow. They're sort of odds and ends crops, some kind of special pepper, some kind of special eggplant, some kind of rare microgreen, something like that. I'm going to talk about 5 things that you really should consider if you're going to do that. I want to start by saying that you really got to be cautious with this kind of thing. I'm going to outline some of that in these 5 key points, but it's risky doing these kinds of things. Restaurants have an incredibly high turnover on the executive level and on the lowest level. They're a risky business. People get burned. I've been burned myself. But I've sold to chefs for my entire farming career. There's a lot of nuances to it. But again, it's really risky, and so you got to be really cautious here. So first thing is, if a chef says to you, hey, can you grow me a special kind of ghost pepper or something like that, some rare crop. That's what this is all about. This is all about rare crops. You gotta make sure that number 1, this is a tenured chef at a long-standing restaurant. The restaurant's been around for a long time. The chef's been around for a long time. If that isn't the case, I wouldn't even consider doing it. And I say that because I have done it. I have done it, chefs get really excited, especially young chefs. They get offered an executive position at a new restaurant and they have all these ideas. They want to talk to all the growers. And when the rubber meets the road, things transpire in a completely different way. So I would really stress that if you're going to grow specialty crops for a restaurant, make sure that the restaurant's been around for a long time and the chef's been there at that restaurant for a long time. Chefs come and go from restaurants. You could have a long-standing restaurant with a new chef coming in. Be careful there. Sometimes if there's a cycle in restaurants, it's because the restaurant's hard to deal with, upper management is hard to deal with. Look at the history of the restaurant. If they've had, a different executive chef every 1 or 2 years for the last 10 years, don't do this kind of thing at those restaurants. It's risky. However, there's some exceptions with certain kinds of crops that I'll explain. So, second thing is, know your crop. Know the kind of crop you're growing. You should have grown it before. You should understand its nuances. You need to know what you're doing because you're going into some kind of commitment here. It doesn't have to be a contractual commitment, but you are going into some kind of commitment. And if you fall up short, then you can damage your reputation. So you want to know the crop. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to know the specific variety of pepper that you're going to grow. Say it's some weird pepper or something like that. But you should know peppers. You should have grown peppers before. You understand the seasonality. You know what to expect. You're not going to grow all the types of crops that you might get requested to do this, but you should know the type of crop very well. That's super important there. So this one is super key. Charge a premium. If they can't get that crop anywhere else, then you're the only person who's selling it. Charge a premium. If hot peppers go for $8 a pound on the market and you're going to grow something that nobody else has and you're going to grow it specifically for them, meaning you're going to go out of your way to plant this crop, you're going to order the special seed, you're going to spend a lot of extra time, consider charging almost double for that crop. So it depends on the crop, right? It depends on also if there's a chance you can sell that crop to somewhere else if this chef isn't buying as much as you'd like. Take those things into consideration, but charge a premium for it nonetheless. If you're the only show in town that's growing that crop, then that's supply and demand. That means the price goes up. Fairly simple as far as economics go. Fourth thing is either get a There's 2 different ways of looking at it as far as the crops you're going to grow. Either you want to grow a crop that they will buy high volume on, or it's a crop, they'll do small volume, but you get a really high price. So it's either high volume or high price. My preference is small volume and high price over here, because the risk factor is lower. So small volume, high price. You know, high volume, you're going to charge a premium, right? You're going to charge more. Like if you're going to grow some kind of potato that they can't get anywhere else, potatoes might go for $2 to $4 a pound, depending on the size, in the open marketplace. If you're going to grow one that they don't have, first you're going to charge a premium, and you're going to want to make sure they take volume. So could be both. It could be either or. I prefer on my small farm, and anytime I've done this, is high price for a small volume. So that might be some kind of rare herb. It might be some kind of rare microgreen, something that you don't have to do a lot of, but you can really get a lot of bang for your buck with that small volume. That way it also mitigates risk. If you're growing a high volume crop for them, and you've got a half acre of one crop for this one restaurant, and that chef leaves, they die, the relationship falls apart at the restaurant, who knows? There's a variety of different things that could happen, and now you can't sell that product. Well, then you're out. So frankly, if you're going to do this, I prefer to grease the wheels with this kind of thing. If you're in it for the long game, and you're going to build relationships with chefs, especially ones that are tenured at long-standing restaurants, then start with the high-price, small volume stuff. If you do that for a year or two, and you really feel like they can be trusted, and there's things going in place at that restaurant that might continue on even if that chef leaves, then you could consider this. So what I mean by that is, you know, I talk about this in a lot of my videos, and I mention it in my book, is when you go to restaurants, you don't want to know just the executive chef. You want to know the sous chef, you want to know some of the line cooks, you want to know some other people by name, because if that executive chef leaves, then who else do you have to contact? Where is the social equity? It disappears. So you want to know other people. And if you feel like you know a restaurant and you know the staff there, and if that one guy's going to leave, or if something happens and he leaves mid-season, that they're still going to be committed to buying your product that you've done in high volume for them. So the fifth thing is about commitment, is get a commitment. Now, this doesn't have to be a contract. I think there's elements of risk involved in contracts for the farmer, because things don't go always as you plan, but you want to get a verbal commitment. You also want to make sure that you understand the types of volume they're expecting to use with this. Circling back to peppers again, specialty peppers is something I've done in the past for chefs. The nice thing about peppers is that if you know how they're going to use them, so in these particular restaurants I was growing these baby bell peppers for, they told me that they would can them, so that they were going to preserve them. So the nice thing about that is, whenever there's a time in the season where you've got an abundance, usually with peppers it's near the end of the season. It's like, you know, late August to late September is when all your peppers are ready, at least up here. I know that they can't use all those fresh in the restaurant. So I know they're going to take any excess that they have and turn them into preserves. So me understanding that makes me feel comfortable that I can get a commitment from them, so that they're going to go ahead and actually use the product that they're claiming that they're going to use. So those are the main 5 to consider. Work with long-standing restaurants, tenured chefs. Know your crop, at least know the type of crop, the plant family of the crop. Charge a premium, always charge a premium. If you're the only show in town doing this, that's worth something. That could be 100% mark. That could be anywhere from 50 to 100% markup, potentially even beyond. It depends on what you think the market will bear. High volume, premium price, or high price, small volume. I prefer this one if you're getting into it, because the risk is a lot lower. And then get yourself a commitment. Hope you guys found that helpful. If you want to see more stuff like this, hit the subscribe button right now. Like and share the videos with your friends. And if you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment below on a subject that you would like me to cover. The ones that have the most amount of likes, or just ones that I think are really intriguing that I haven't done videos on in the past, I will make a video about it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We'll talk to you later.